And welcome back to Speak Up. I'm Leslie Van Arsdale, in today for Natasha Brown, and my guest this morning is the Honorable Penny Brown Reynolds. Of course, you may recognize her from Family Court with Judge Penny, that's seen right here on the CW Philly weekdays at 11 a.m. Now, beyond being a judge on Family Court, Judge Penny has also had political experience in Georgia, and let's talk for a minute about the importance of younger voters and getting that vote out this election.
It's critical. This election is probably one of the most important elections we've ever had for many reasons. I think that I'm so excited that young people have decided to take charge of their future. And there's so many considerations that they have to make, but never before have we seen, and I'm the mother of 28 and 29-year-olds who have decided to really get involved in terms of volunteering, and it was something that I'd always hoped for. But it's absolutely critical, because until we decide as a country to take charge of our own country and get involved in the process instead of complaining, I don't think we'll see any of the changes. So with everything that's going on with the economy, with everything that's going on with crime, Jennifer Hudson's family was just murdered horrifically. I saw stuff like this in court all the time. But what was striking to me is 7 hours went by before the community even called the police with gunshots. Well, that's not just a family issue. I call it a village issue. It's an issue that affects our entire community, that we've become so desensitized about all kinds of issues. And so I'm believing that this election will raise our consciousness and levels. We'll begin to have a national discussion about the environment, about energy, about all the issues that really matter to us in America. So I think it's imperative that people go out to vote.
I know. And that's what this election, you know, some of the polls people are a little like wary about, because they don't know how many of these young people are actually going to get up and go out to vote. You know, you can say you're going to vote, but come Tuesday, you got to get out there.
I think I'm most proud, no matter which way the election turns out, we're at a time in our life where we need a leader. We need someone. I know people like change. I don't believe there is a savior for anyone. I'm a big proponent of believing that we all have to do it together. But one thing I've noticed in these last 2 years, and I think this is appealing to young people, we have a generation of people where now maybe it doesn't matter if a woman becomes president. Hillary Clinton and what she did was phenomenal. Even Governor Palin and what she's doing is phenomenal. No matter, you come outside of the personalities, from a female standpoint, it's phenomenal. And not to mention an African American is phenomenal, and even an older gentleman, 72 years old, the oldest person to run for the highest office in the land. I think that it's because of young people that all of the stereotypes that we had gotten so used to, the racism and sexism, maybe, just maybe, all of the ideals that America espouses throughout the world can really be realized through this election, just by people going out to vote. If the turnout can be such a way that we show that we really care and our voices are heard, particularly in the past where we had to let the Supreme Court decide the previous election, which is something that has never been done before. I think this is critical. I think it's going to change the consciousness of everyone in many ways. So I'm looking so forward to it. I've already voted, in fact, in Georgia. We had early voting. I stood in line with everyone.
How long were the lines?
Line was 2 hours long. Wow. It's been about over 800 to 900,000 people in the state of Georgia who's already voted. And so I think really throughout the entire United States, there are still 19 states that do not allow early voting. I don't know about Philadelphia, but I know New York doesn't allow it. And it's something that they really need to consider. People need to be able to have access. I know in Nevada you can go into the malls, in the casinos and actually vote. In Vegas.
We don't allow it here, so we can't do the early voting here. But do you think these long lines that people are seeing, that you saw, you know, will discourage people in any way?
No, you know why? For several reasons. Number one, imagine what's happening with the economy. People are fearful of their livelihood. I can tell you that it has been some of the most troubling times we've ever seen. We don't know what it is to be in a depression, but this is as much as the Great Depression as ever before. Number two, the lowest approval rating of any Congress that there could be. People are very distrusting of politicians. So imagine to have this much excitement and energy about feeling like your one vote matters, and it really does matter. And so I'm thinking that because of the times, energy is a big issue. Global warming, and what are we going to do with gas prices and what really matters? And I think that it's a good opportunity. It's sort of like what I like to say, it's the worst of times and it's the best of times. Because generally speaking, and it's been from my life and the hard life that I lived, that it is from those times of disappointment and fear that you will never fear the same way again. When we come from this part of our lives, all that's happening with the economy, and we're on the other side of it again, we will have so much strength and courage that we could never imagine. And I believe that people are feeling that all over the country, thus the long lines. So I hope they're not discouraged, because their vote matters. It mattered to me. I actually cried when I voted, because it was just significant of the fact that we've evolved as a country.